This 19th day of this month of November in this year 2021, another very lovely day. Now remember that we need to be very vigilant, looking and of course focusing on to what happened to us this week on Tuesday when we had those twin bomb blasts in Kampala. So we still need to be very vigilant as we fight COVID-19. We also again need to be on the lookout to avert every other act of terror that those cowardly acts. So we need to do our best to ensure that we manage ourselves and our lives. We thank you so much for choosing to be with us on Friday again today. Now later on we'll be expecting a live that will be coming on I think by NSSF, and that will be coming at you much later. But on our special Friday today, joining me in studios is an entrepreneur from Sweden. His name is Ben Ivansson. You're very welcome, Ben.
Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to see you and happy to have you.
I'm very happy to be here.
How do you feel being in Uganda?
I have been coming back and forth to Uganda for about 5 years, and I love every time I'm coming here. So I'm very glad to be here.
What's good about Uganda so far for you?
Well, I was kind of surprised or very happy about the mentality and kindness and happiness with people.
And the hospitality of Uganda.
And hospitality, and I love the food. So I consider Uganda being my second home.
Okay.
Yeah.
You came to Uganda 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
What compelled you to come to Uganda?
I was invited to a small concert with a black guy who was singing, and he was talking about a school that he went to when he grew up in Kaboa.
In Kaboa?
Yeah.
Kaboa, in Kampala here.
In Kampala. And he was trying to raise money for the school to be renovated. The name of the school was St. Anne's. I didn't see that many people gave him any money, really. It was kind of a poorly produced video.
He's Ugandan.
He's Ugandan, yeah.
He attended a school called St. Anne in Kaboa.
Yeah.
So he comes to Sweden to fundraise.
He was living in Sweden.
He was living in Sweden.
And okay. he had a big heart for his home school, so to speak.
Oh, okay. So he wanted to fundraise money to come and develop the school.
Right, exactly.
Where I attended, okay.
And so after the concert, or the small concert he had, I went to him and I said that if what you're saying is true, I would like to try to help you with this. And his first reaction was, I've never heard anyone say that to me before. So we became good friends. And in order for me to understand that this was really the case with the school, I went down here over the weekend. And I met a group of wonderful people who were the siblings, the kids of the founding family of the school. And the school, this was a very big school. They had, when it was the biggest, they had 1,000 students. And it was in a very poor condition. You could really see it's been falling apart, really, in many of the buildings. So that's where it started. In Sweden, I went back to Sweden and I talked to some people who felt the same. We would like to help. So we've started a foundation called St. Anne's Foundation, and I'm raising money in Sweden. And we renovate the school.
Okay. So when we get back home to Sweden, what do you do for a living yourself?
I've been a businessman for my whole life, except the last 8 years when I was working for the mayor of my town.
For the mayor? For the mayor,
yeah.
You come from Stockholm?
I was born in Stockholm, but I live up north in a small city of 72,000 people. Okay. And I was kind of a little bit upset with the mayor, because I thought that the municipality leadership didn't do what I thought they should do with the business owners. It was complicated to start a business and to run a business, I felt. And we had a discussion, and that ended with that he offered me a job. So I was working as a business development director for my town called Skellefteå.
In the north of Sweden? In
the north of Sweden. And the problem we had in the city was that people moved. The young kids moved from the city to get a job in Stockholm mainly. And the task for me was to try to create 4,000 new jobs.
As a business development manager?
Yeah, right. Because if kids move, really the future also it doesn't get as bright as it could be.
This is what the mayor asked you to do in that town where you were,
right,
in the north of Sweden.
Right.
You were supposed to create 4,000 jobs
4,000
in a town of 72,000
right, exactly.
citizens. Okay.
And when I thought about that, I said that jobs are created in three areas. One is the startups. You have people starting a business. The second area is existing companies that are doing well, they expand and they need more people. The third is establishments or investments. You attract a big company to come to your town and invest. So those were the three areas where we were working, and the main strategy for the whole development was really young adults. People actually between 20 and 30 years old. They were the focus group.
Okay.
Because we saw the statistics that when kids or when youth were moving, when people were moving, they were about 20 to 30. Either they moved to our city or from our city.
Okay.
And we had a negative netto of that. People moved from our town down to Stockholm because we could not offer the cool jobs.
You call them cool jobs?
Yeah, I mean, we are in a mining district, and young, educated people maybe don't want to go down to the
mines.
To the mines, right? You know, they would like to work with computers, game developments,
sit in boardrooms.
Exactly. So we did a strategy. It took us a year actually to develop that. What kind of a city are we trying to create? Okay. And so one thing that we had was that the university of our town were educating people for game development. Okay. You know, phone games and computer games. And when they were ready with school, they started a business somewhere else. Because they didn't feel that they were welcome in our town. So we said we need to start a gaming cluster. So we built a house for them. We employed
in your town in the north?
In my town, right.
Okay.
And we employed a leader for this whole attempt. And today, which is about 4 years later, there are 400 young people, I would say, working in our city with game development. Okay. Which is amazing. Okay. And what that does, it attracts others to come because you create a rumor that the city is cool to be in with the young kids. Okay. So we've done a lot of things like that.
So how is the unemployment rate in Sweden, for example? Because we would think and we would love to actually run from Uganda. If you have an opportunity to actually run and find yourself in Sweden, wherever you go, whether in Stockholm or in the north or in the south, wherever you want to go, right. Anybody would want to leave this country, for example, to get there. Are there no jobs like you're explaining?
Why would they like to leave?
Why would they like to leave?
Yeah, right.
No, that's a very big question.
I know.
Why would they like to leave?
And that
because they like to leave.
And that is the question. Why would they like to leave Uganda?
To go to Sweden?
Yeah, that is the question a mayor should ask himself or herself.
A mayor?
Yeah, in a city. Why are people leaving my town? Because that's the question. How can a leadership in a city find the answer for that question and create an attraction for the young adults? Because if they leave, the development of the city will slow down. You need to have people who love their towns or cities, that are educated, that have a passion for development, and the mayor needs to bless them. He needs to love those kids and do everything he or she could to really make them stay.
You're so emphatic on this office called the mayor, or the person called the mayor. Let me understand it from you. How important is the mayor of a city in Sweden?
I mean, Sweden is a very democratic country, and of course the mayor is the utmost, power.
Top political leader.
Exactly. So you would say that he or she are very important. But they also have a symbolic value. If they in the news are saying, in our town we just care about the rich. I mean, the poor would. And that's a very stupid comment for a mayor to say, right? He or what he or she are saying means so much for the spirit of the city. So they have my image of a good mayor is that I'm saying he, but it could be she, of course, is that he would be a servant to his town. I'm here to make life good for you.
For the people who live in my town.
For the people who live in that town. You know, sometimes when I have been here, I have a feeling it's kind of the opposite, a little bit. That the people are supposed to serve the leadership.
To serve the mayor?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm right. I'm just observing.
How long have you been coming to Uganda?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
You've been here long enough to see some of this.
And I was actually speaking at a conference because our town was a kind of a sister town to Jinja.
Sister town?
Yeah, I mean,
Why Jinja?
I don't know. It was,
you don't know? You only just found it there?
When I came to office, that's what it was.
When you came to office in your town in Sweden?
Yeah, they said we have a town that we are friends with, and that we work together with, and it's in Jinja.
In Uganda?
Yeah, and I had no idea. I didn't know what Jinja was.
You didn't know where Jinja was?
No.
Okay.
It's in Africa somewhere.
Have you been to Jinja?
Yeah.
You've been to Jinja?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
so talk about that relationship.
I was actually speaking at a conference in Jinja about city development.
About city development?
You're right. And I was talking like this, you know. We are servants to our citizens, and I might be wrong, but I got the feeling that some people didn't like that.
When you're speaking to them in Jinja, the leaders?
Yeah. Because that's really what we are. We have their confidence, we have their trust, and we should make their life as good as we can.
So you've been to Jinja?
Yeah.
And spoken to the leaders in Jinja?
Right.
How many times have you been to Jinja?
I've been there twice.
You've been there twice?
Yeah.
Okay. What is Jinja learning from your town? If you look at it, what is it learning from your town?
Actually,
back in Sweden?
It was a very good relationship. It still is, by the way. They came. The mayor came, and he brought his staff. They were like 5-7 people coming to our town. We were talking with them about democracy, how to develop a communication with your people. How to create an appealing vision for your town. We talked about how could we bring investments to the city. So we were really trying to share our experiences, not saying that we know how to do it in Africa, because we don't. You know, I mean, it's a different kind of culture. But we were sharing what we were doing in Sweden, and you know, it was a very good. It is a very good relationship, and I would say that if we could be of any help, we would love that. You know, as you said before, maybe Sweden is maybe more developed or has a better economy or what have you, and it was an honor for us to be asked.
Yes, it is true that Sweden has a better and more developed economy, but I just want to know, do you also have unemployment problems, especially for the youth, the young people who are just living in employment problem?
You know what? The unemployment rate in the country is about 6%.
Okay.
In our city, it's about 2.5%. Because what happened in our town was that when I was asked to arrange 4,000 new jobs, we were kind of invited in a competition for a huge battery factory that was going to establish themselves somewhere in Europe. And they were talking to us about that they would create 3,000 jobs to the city where they choose to establish themselves. We won that competition 4 years ago, and now the largest factory in Europe is now being built in my small town. Would you believe that?
The largest factory?
The largest factory in Europe is now being built.
Not in Sweden, but in Europe? In
my town, yeah. No, well, at least in Scandinavia.
The Scandinavia,
yeah.
Yes.
So it has expanded now So it will be potentially 5,000 workers in the factory, and around the factory altogether it will be about 10 to 12,000 new jobs. Would you believe that? So you can do changes. You can change with attitude and passion and communication and so on. So and you know, Africa is so rich.
In the recent, many years ago, the only city that we had in Uganda was a city called Kampala.
Okay.
And in the recent past, we've now had to also bring more new cities on board, Jinja being one of them, and quite others in the countryside. What needs to be done? What do you think should be the strategy for, because all these cities have mayors as their political leaders.
Right.
What needs to be done to ensure that we actually develop these cities and make them amiable, make them good cities for people, and to avoid the movement from Jinja to Kampala, flooding Kampala, everybody coming to Kampala, or even moving out of Uganda to find solace somewhere else. Yeah. What do you think these leaders or the mayors of these various cities across the country should do to ensure that they bring these things to their people and keep their people comfortably in their cities?
Right. We had it's a very, very good question, and it's a very difficult question. But we said that we cannot sell what we don't have. Okay, so we said, what do we have in our city that we could take advantage of? Well, we had three things. We said we have mining. We produce gold, silver, copper, and so on.
Leveraging on mining.
Mining was one.
As a country, because you do that. Is that as a country or as a city?
Well, it's the city actually.
As a city,
the municipality.
The municipality. Yeah. Okay.
And around the mining industry, there's a lot of other industries growing up with machinery, equipment, software development, and so on. The other one is wood. We are surrounded with so much wood, forestry. And instead of just chopping it off and making timbers, we said, let's make windows, doors, houses, furnitures. How could we create an industry around the production of...
Out of the forestry.
Furnitures. The third area was we have green energy, meaning electricity that is not produced by gas or coal. It's produced by water, hydro, the river. So we said we have those three areas, and that's what we can leverage on. And that's really how we got the battery factory, with the right attitude from the people working in the municipality and the city. And we said to the company, we have those benefits if you come to our town. And of course, Jinja don't have that. Maybe I don't know what Jinja really. Yeah.
But they could have their own.
They could have other. They have other things. You dig where you are. You sell what you have. Look at yourself as a servant for your city. It's a short question, but the answer is very big, because I think every city is different, is unique. But the solution is not to have people move into a big town, because it's going to be a problem for the big town like Kampala, and it's a problem for the small town that loses its resources really.
Okay, so how long did this take you to plan? I'm looking at laying the strategy and of course saying we can do this thing in this period of time.
Right.
It is one thing to say we have this or that or that or that as our unique features in this particular town. Now, when you look at the cities in Uganda, when you go to Fort Portal, it's a city that is unique in its own way, with its own unique features. When you go to Hoima, when you go to Jinja, when you go to Gulu, when you go to Mbale, when you go to all these cities across the country, have something unique to themselves.
Right.
How long will the strategy be to actually determine and say, at such a time, we think our city shall have moved from point A to possibly J?
Yeah. While you were asking the question, I was really thinking about what happened with us in my town. The mayor did not come up with a strategy.
He did not?
No. He was working with a group of people. And I think it is not, you cannot expect a mayor to do all the detailed work of this, right? So we were a team of people that said together. We worked with the strategy for a year, actually, And what we did was we invited the citizens in discussions with them. We invited the elderly, the churches, the sport clubs, the youth, the kids, the teachers.
All stakeholders.
All stakeholders of our town. You know, what do we want the city to become? What,
Is that so?
Absolutely. We did that for a year.
For a whole year?
For a whole year.
Speaking.
I was kind of tired about those meetings because
Sure.
Okay.
You wanted to see things working
I wanted
out.
to see let's make it happen. Okay.
Yes, you wanted to see things happening.
But it was a very important year. So we collected all those data and we said, this is the kind of city that our people want. So how do we get there? And in our society, we have an expression saying that the politicians are saying what? The people like myself, I'm not a politician. You know, we say how.
Politicians say what? What is the what?
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
What do we want to see happen? And then I would say, this is how we have to do it.
The technical people.
Exactly. And you work together with the politicians. You know, I was a director of development, but I cannot just come up with my own ideas of what the city is going to become. You know, I'm working for the people. The people have to express themselves, and the politicians, of course, are elected by the people. So, of course, all things coming together in a big pot of. This is the kind of city we would like to have. And what the funny thing with that, I mean, not funny, but the fantastic thing with that was the feeling of unity in the city. Where we developed a brand, a logotype of our city. Like a logotype of our city, yeah. And we started to sell hats and T-shirts and scarves.
Branded after your city.
Right, exactly. And we saw people buy those hats like crazy. And people were proud of their city. You know, instead of having Nike on your hat, you had Skellefteå.
You have Ginger City.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a proud citizen of Ginger. I love my town. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight for the city. That was the kind of spirit this whole dialogue with the citizens really created.
And they loved that.
Who loved it?
And they loved it.
They did. I mean, absolutely. We had a slogan say 80,000 by 2030. We were 72. We were going to be 80,000 people.
Oh, you wanted to see the city increase, get more people.
Yeah, that's why we needed the jobs.
To see people come to the city.
Yeah,
get more people.
Because we had a problem with people leaving.
Going to other towns.
Going to other towns, to Stockholm mainly. And what happened with that, when the young kids leave, only 11% of them come back. We had statistics. They went to school, and when they went to another university, they stay there because they maybe meet someone or they find a job. So we said we need to have strategy to keep them in the city. We have to make them.
Or if they go to Stockholm to study, they need to come back.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Make it good for them.
Exactly.
Oh, that's very important. How long do you keep your politicians in office?
4 years.
4 years.
Right.
Okay. And so what happens if the mayor this time does not come back into an election? What happens? Do you carry on? Do you continue with that?
Absolutely,
or it becomes a different story?
Actually, why do you have all those questions coming from? You're a good question maker. Very good question. I'm sorry. Because that's a very important question.
Yes.
It is.
You're surprised at my question? Just laugh them as it.
Yeah. What happened was,
Yes.
I had a program for the young kids who wanted to start a business. And I said, we need to start that process when kids are about 10 years old.
Okay.
And we help them to create their ideas from kids, and we never tell them that their ideas are bad. You know, we support their ideas.
Okay.
So when they're 20, 25, they might start a company. So you need to give me, I said, you need to give me 15 years of this program.
Okay.
Even if you're not elected next time, the program needs to continue.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a very valid question.
We'll just take a break shortly and return thereafter. My name is Jagada Semakula Soka with my guest from Sweden, Mr. Ben Ivanson.
That's
He's
perfect.
an entrepreneur and of course doing some work in Uganda, which he told us earlier, Ron, but he loves this country. He's been to Uganda, he's in Uganda and also doing some businesses in Uganda that of course we'll know later on. We'll take a break.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it. Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend services. Roofing's, strength of a nation. Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
How to get points? Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it. Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend services. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
If you look at all sectors, energy has an influence.
Now, how do we build a model that is sustainable? We're making good investments and we're growing the sector.
Our record under UEP had not been that very good.
World Bank Group has been involved in Uganda electricity sector since the mid-2000s, where it has supported the government in very bold reform.
The last 15 years, we focused on the parameters that were set in our concession that was negotiated at the time. It took the best minds of Uganda to work on it and also the best minds internationally, because they had to plan for 20 years ahead.
As remember, we have innovated over the period. We've rolled out cashless. We introduced payment metering, Yaka. As I speak now, the 1.5 million customers are all on Yaka.
The transition has been very, very good because Ugandans who enjoy the power went out and bought shares.
Umeme's massive investment, a robust and functional distribution network that will impact the lives of Uganda's over 40 million citizens.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, thank you so much, and it's just 33 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. Welcome back to our special Friday. My name is Jagan Asamakola Ziksoka, and of course with me in studios is my guest, an entrepreneur here from Sweden. His name is Ben Ivanson, visiting us, of course, doing some work in Kampala and in Uganda specifically. Welcome again, and let's continue with our conversation. Now, I'm just interested in your ideas about how cities can develop and all the things. Now, one thing that I know is you've been in Uganda. You've been coming to Uganda for the last 4 or 5 years,
right?
And I'm sure much of your time is in Kampala. I want you to look at Kampala as a city. It is the biggest city in this country. It is a capital city in this country. I want you to look at Kampala and what you learn. What have you learned in Kampala? How do you look at Kampala, the city itself, in comparison to cities elsewhere where you've been?
It is very, very crowded.
Very crowded.
Heavy traffic.
Very.
Air is not clean.
It's polluted.
Right. And the way you treat garbage is not very friendly for nature. People burn their garbage in their gardens.
It's not friendly.
It's not friendly. No. If you burn plastic, you destroy air. But what I've learned on the positive side is fantastic people who love their country, proud of their country, and really would like to see improvements in the country. I would say that I like problems more than I like perfect situation. And when I came to the school was not in a good condition.
In Kaboa.
In Kaboa. And that gave me energy really to try to help out. If the school would have been good, I wouldn't be needed, so to speak. So when I see things I have a friend who is developing electric vehicles. He takes a good car and he takes away the engine. He's in Nairobi. He takes away the engine and he replaces an electric motor and batteries in the car. He is now also making, and he's very successful. He has about 100 people working for him. He is now developing a boda boda, electric boda boda, for the same price as a regular boda boda, except for the battery, because the expensive part is the battery. But he leases the battery cheaper than you buy fuel.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And in Kampala there are 90,000 boda bodas, and they are not very good for the air. So there's a lot of opportunities in new technology, financially, but also environmental, so to speak, for Kampala.
Have you moved around? Have you ridden on a boda boda in Kampala?
Yeah, I actually own a motorcycle.
You own a motorcycle?
Yeah,
you have one in Kampala?
Here.
So if you want to run away from the traffic jam, you know how to jump on that. If somebody had asked you to give some suggestions or ideas on how to decongest this crowded city of Kampala, what would you tell them to do?
I think the solution is not in Kampala itself.
Okay.
The solution is in the cities around Kampala.
Yeah. Very important.
It seems like I was asking someone how many people lives in Kampala, and someone said, well, there's about 1.5 million sleeping in Kampala, but there's about 3 million people
working in Kampala. On a regular day like today.
So people, you know, they crowd the city and then they go back. So I think the solution, and of course it's a long-term plan, but I think the solution is not itself in Kampala. The solution is really also
outside Kampala.
Right, out in the country, where towns need to try to keep their
If you develop Jinja, develop Mbarara, develop Masaka, develop all the others, then you reduce on the influx of the people that
yeah,
come
the
to
pressure
Kampala.
would be
That-
released
the pressure will be released.
on Kampala.
Because people come to Kampala on the presumption that every good thing is actually in Kampala.
Exactly.
But once everything is actually put somewhere else. Okay, that's very important. What did you study in university?
I didn't go to university.
Why didn't you go to university?
I didn't have time.
You didn't have time?
No.
To go to
I had no
university?
passion for that. I was brought up in a family, my father was actually a pastor, but also an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And he was running a small business. And from an early age, I really felt drawn to the business side of life. So when I was 19, I started my business.
At the age of 19?
19, yeah. And I kept it for about 30 years, sold it, and actually started another company. So and really, it's kind of typical in Sweden, when you talk to an entrepreneur, many of them didn't have time for school. And I didn't. Study was not my passion. Business was my passion.
So you started doing business?
Yeah.
What business were you doing at 19?
It was a small sign shop for shops. We did small signs, and I was actually, when I was 24, I was contacted by an American company who wanted to become a partner with me. So we were partners for over 20 years. And we ended up having a lot of big accounts. The biggest one was McDonald's in almost 90 countries in the world. We did their menu board systems.
The McDonald's, the Big Mac.
Right.
The big,
Yeah. And Coke and Pepsi and Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we did a lot
KFC,
of
Kentucky Chicken.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did a lot of big brands. So I did that, and I mean I don't at all disrespect education, because you really need it. That's why I really spend so much time at the school. But I guess university is not for everyone. And I think here in this town, what I have learned is that even if you have a high education, it's hard to get a job. I've thought about an idea of you know, I came here with just the idea of helping a school. Then,
in Kaboa.
In Kaboa. Then one morning when I was took a walk, I saw a house with a small note saying for rent. So I rented that, and we've started a cafe called Café Saint Anne's, which is of course working together with the school, you know. And I thought that even if you study here and if you don't get a job, maybe one good thing to do would be to start a vocational school, to train people how to weld in a professional way, and do carpentry in the right way, but also not only that, but also teach how to run a business in a sustainable way. Pay your taxes, pay your fees, leave guarantees to the customer. I mean, all those things that a real company would do. We had a company who they were welding for us at the school. A very good man. He came to this school, and he put sunglasses on to do the welding. To do the welding, sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
And I said, can you take off your glasses? Let me see your eyes. They were totally red, because this is going to kill his sight if he doesn't have real glasses. And then he starts this big grinder, you know, very noisy, very loud, without protection for your ears. So I guess when he's 40, he's not going to hear what people say to him.
Doing a very good job, but crudely.
Yeah, I mean, and he's paying with his health, you know. He did a beautiful job, but he's paying with. I was asking him, why don't you buy glasses? Well, he said they're too expensive. I mean, come on, you need to find a way to save your eyes.
But because you're doing this for a job, you're doing this for a pay.
Yeah. So I bought him a pair of glasses. But I mean, that was just him. But he said, this is what every welder do in Kampala, or and I'm sure, of course, that's not the case. But he said that's kind of the standard. You go and buy a cheap pair of sunglasses. So, yeah, I mean, Yeah.
Oh, and you talked about a cafe. You started a cafe in Kampala here?
We started a cafe.
In Kampala still?
Yeah, right.
Sedans.
And the idea with that, the reason why we did it was, first of all, we wanted to create a meeting place for the people in Cabo. It's called, the area is actually called St. Anne's, after the name after the school. So we wanted to start a meeting place for people, and I said we're going to have an excellent cafe. Good value, good quality, good service, because that's a representation of the school. That's the same values we have at the school. And the second thing was that I wanted to help out training people to work professionally, and with the idea that maybe if we're successful with this cafe, we can start a second one, and maybe someone at the cafe can run it. And the third reason was that if we're profitable, that would be a support to the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about starting a business, but also sustaining it, making a business have sustainability.
Yeah.
In Kampala, where you're working or where you stay or you're living, you go through places like Ndeba, and there's a lot of woodwork there happening.
Okay.
There's a lot of welding in Katwe as you're going to Kampala. There's a lot of carpentry in Kampala itself and all the things. And Uganda is one of the countries that was rated as an entrepreneur country.
Right, exactly.
Yes, one of the countries that does entrepreneurship so well. But of course, we also know it here that not so many of our businesses actually live to their 10th anniversary. What needs to be done for somebody to have a business, like you said, you started a business at the age of 19, grew your business and sold it off at 40. Now we talk
48.
about 48. At 48, well, that's another whooping about 20 plus 30 years of doing and running the same business.
Right.
And I'm sure that you sold it at some hefty price. Right. How do we build businesses, start businesses, carry on with these businesses, and the actually sustainable businesses, and not do something today and after 2-3 years the business is no more?
Right. Well, I think that there's a number of things you need to think about. One is branding.
Branding.
Yeah, you need to create a brand around what you're doing. Like if you are making chairs and you do really good chairs, maybe you can hook up with a good designer who went to a design school, and you could say to he or she that let's design some cool chairs. And we can split the profit. I mean, and let's give them a brand.
Partnerships now.
Partnerships, yeah. And I'll do the production, you do the design work, and we'll find someone who does the accounting and the money side.
And the marketing side.
Right.
Okay.
And what you do is you invest. Of course, you invest. You think long term, and you don't use all the money you get. Now, you need to save. You need to save because you need a new machine, or you need to do a marketing campaign or activity. I guess that, and of course, you need to sell to as a high price as you can. Know your value, be a good salesperson, and you need to deliver more than what you promised on time. And those are the kind of characteristics there is of a successful business, really. And I have seen that here, but I've also seen the opposite, so to speak. Where I trusted people, I paid them in advance, and they didn't deliver. You know?
Oh, you've done that?
Yeah, I've done that.
You pay them to deliver,
yeah,
and they never turn back.
Right.
You pay them in advance.
They disappeared basically, and you know, trust is another issue that if there is no trust, it's hard to run a business really. And I know that the level here is really low, because I need to prepay. You buy material, you prepay. You know, it's a bargaining all the time when we buy stuff here. And another thing is that a company, I know none of us likes to pay taxes, right? But in order to build a sustainable business, you need to have your books in order. You need to do what the government says you to do, because you need to respect the law that is in the country. So, yeah.
It is a Friday today, and every Fridays, like it is today, Muslims congregate for their Friday prayers.
Right.
Tomorrow is Saturday. There will be Christians. Yesterday is congregating. Sunday, all these Christians will be congregating. And in this country, for the time that you've been here, you'll notice that on Sundays like that, you see so many people. They go to places of worship, go to churches, go to all these places. How can we leverage on these congregants who come in big numbers to churches for all these hours? There are churches that open at 6 in the morning and they are worshiping up until 6 in the evening. There are people there with them all day, all the time, with these big numbers. How can we take advantage as countries or as cities, as towns? How do we take advantage of these people who come to churches? How do we make churches stakeholders in our city's development? Again
a good question.
Asking a son of a former pastor.
I believe that people with faith, no matter what faith they have, we have a bigger vision for their life, and they believe in a good future. I think faith is very important. The spirit side of our lives is really important. I haven't thought about the question, but really in where I grew up, I felt always supported by the pastor in my church for my business. They were praying for me, you know. I felt they were supporting what I was doing. They trusted me with that. My entrepreneurial spirit has also been used in the church, where we started different things, and I think churches and people with faith, they're really important for a city because they have a respect for a higher being. So absolutely, that's a good thing.
What more do you want to do in Uganda? Because you came to Uganda, you wanted to support somebody start a school or revamp, rebuild a school that they attended, and you came to Uganda and saw all these opportunities in here. What more do you want to do in Uganda if for whichever time you still want to keep in Uganda?
We're working with the school. Of course, the schools have been closed. I would love to see that school filled with enthusiastic kids and help them to create a great future for themselves. I would love to see our cafe succeed and to be a good part of the small society in Kampala. I don't know what else I would like to do, but I love this place. And if there's anything I could do that is reasonable, so to speak, I will see what God has in His mind and where my passion will be developed, so to speak.
Okay. Let me just know the progress of the school's development from the time that you came in here, because you said you came in to help, and we've had schools closed for just 2 years, but you've been here for over 5 years. What's the progress like, and the achievements, of course, that you've seen happen to this school from the time you came in?
Our school?
Yes.
When I came here, the school had very few students.
Okay.
And then we started the renovation program, and we started to add on more kids. We had school uniforms, and the school was really restarting. And then came COVID, and what we have done is we have kept a relationship and home teaching with our kids. We had about 65 kids or pupils when the COVID came. But we were actually. We transported about 400 seats of furniture from Sweden in a container.
Oh.
So we are ready for about 350 students in the school now, or kids in the school now. So that's kind of where we are right now with the school. We have kept our teachers. We have continued to renovate we made we're working on a football field. We have done a library. We have done a computer room. We were donated with a lot of computers, so we have computers at the school. We have done a new dining room and a new kitchen. So we've been continuing to invest in the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important. Finally, because the time is running out, what message would you specifically have to the leaders? Look at the leaders, especially those running different cities and municipalities, wherever they are, those who are watching you. What could be this particular message that you would send out to our leaders in as far as developing their cities or towns is concerned?
I think the most important thing that we did in my town was the focus on the young adults.
Young adults.
Yeah. They are so important for, we need them to stay and help develop the cities. So I guess that would be my message, to really have that as a focus, create attractive jobs for those groups, maybe try to attract investments that are focusing on that. We thought about what kind of restaurants do those young people want to go to, what kind of sports activities would they like to have. So the focus was really on this age group, 20 to 30. So that would be, I guess, what I would focus on if I was the mayor in one of those towns.
Okay. Well, Ben Ivanson, again, I want to thank you so much and to commend you for having allowed to join us on our special Friday here on UBC TV.
It's been an honor, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, I'll stop it here for tonight. Just thanking Mr. Ben Ivanson from Sweden for having allowed to join us here. Ben has been coming to Uganda for the past 5 years, doing some work in Uganda, but is of course also an expert at cities development. Most interestingly is that he did not go to university to study urban planning. He didn't go to study urban planning, he didn't go to study city management or city businesses, but that's where he is, and giving us some very good insights on how we can develop our cities. Thank you so much. And of course, to leave it here for today, to just remind you that His Excellency the President of Uganda will be speaking to the nation tomorrow. His address would have been today, but it was called off for tomorrow. So tomorrow at 8 p.m, the President will be speaking to us on quite a number of issues, security being one of those. Let's keep safe and also be vigilant wherever we are. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, thanking you so much and saying blessings and bye for today. Nice weekend. Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.